Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Dergboi podcast, where I and other possible guests will talk about some interesting topics. I am your host, Rugged. Now, today on the podcast, we're on episode 18. It's been a while since I updated. I apologize for that. I'm a little lazy. So, today I'll be talking about my late beta feedback for the upcoming release of the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. The 2022 version, not the terrible 2009 multiplayer version. I love the campaign for the old one, but I hated the multiplayer for MW2 original. I'm sorry, everybody. I just started to start off on that note because, like I said, it's just a little rant. I know people love that game as multiplayer and all that, but it was just too broken and just, experimental at best, right? But I just didn't enjoy it. But anyway, if you enjoy my content that you're listening to, give it a good review, share it with others, wherever you listen to on Spotify, maybe YouTube in the future, and other platforms. So if you ever want to be a part of my podcast as a voice guest, and if you have other questions you want me to read out loud and want me to answer, feel free to click on a few of the links I provided within the episodes of my podcast. Now, the best way to reach me for questions is reaching me out on Twitter. It's all one word. It's at RuggedTheDragon. You can also join my Discord channel along with my Telegram group if you want to ask questions. I'm on there quite often. I'm sorry if I don't respond immediately because of work scheduling conflicts, but hey, if you ever want to ask questions, wondering if you want to participate in anything like that, Discord, Twitter, Telegram, all of those, I can easily read them. So that's the best way to reach me. I'm also on Twitch quite often under the username of RuggedTheDragon, all one word again. So all the links on my social media and server are linked within the descriptions of my podcast. So if you ever want to click on them, let me do so. It helps me out, and I hope to hear from everybody as time rolls on by. So I often stream on Twitch, and I figured before I start the main topic, I should get into my recent followers. So I'm going to do this on a whole weekly basis for the people who followed me over the past 7 or 8 days or so, and give you a little shout out, because it really helps me out. Even if you're not following my Twitch channel now, it's still good to let you know that you're important to me and let you know that your name is out there so I can call you out, not call you out in a negative way, but basically saying, hey, thanks a lot for everything you did. So we're going to go back to the past 9 days of the follows I've been given so far. So let's just say this is the only subscriber I have for tier 1. We've had Pointless Furry subscribed to me for almost a year now. So thank you, Pointless Furry, for that. We also got follows from the past 9 days. We have Mindbox18, Lone Wolf 3961, Surly Wombat 01, Karma Pup, The Smiler TV, and we also have Newbork City, Premium Daddy. Oh, thank you, Premium Daddy. I know you. You're that pink giraffe I rated a while ago. Thank you for that, by the way. Eric E549, Morganwith. I'm sorry if I mess up some of these names, but thank you again. Fuse the Wolfie, Terrence Jones, Just VXX. We also have Space Lover 69 without the E. We also have a follow from V Good Cookie. I guess these were offline follows. And Lord Rui, who I rated not too long ago. She was playing Resident Evil and new to the series. I love the stream. I just love how when you watch people play a game for the first time ever, it's so exciting to see them about to get terrified. But at the same time, you're like, no, go that way, trust me. But you can't spoil the game for them. You can't backseat all the time. But it's still fun to experience people playing a horror game that I've played for many years for the first time. But anyway, I'm getting a little off track here. So thank you all for the follows. Like I said, I'll keep doing this every once in a while. Every week or two, I get more followers. I'll shout everybody out. So again, thank you very much for all the support on my Twitch channel. It's not very big. I currently have about over 1,300 followers right now. So it's getting there. I'm getting there eventually. Who knows? Next 10 years, I might be way more popular, but maybe not. We could still be in the same place. But anyway, so with that being said, let's get on to the main topic about Modern Warfare 2. Alright, so like I said before, I apologize for being very late to the whole Modern Warfare 2 beta feedback train here. The game's coming out in like 2 weeks. Less than that. Well, early access campaign anyway. The multiplayer itself is like, what, 2 or 3 weeks from now? So it's October 12th right now since I'm recording this, so yeah. I pre-ordered the game already, I got it on Steam. I kind of regret the decision in some ways because I always played the game on Battle.net. And even though Steam is a better choice overall because it's got more friends that I know on my friends list that want to play the game, the issue with that, I guess this would fall into my negative category, is the COD points. Now, for those who don't know, Call of Duty points are, it's a premium currency system in the game, right? You earn Call of Duty points on your platform only. Means that if you earn Call of Duty points on Xbox and then you decide to play the game on PC, those earned points from Xbox don't transition there. Those points don't transition from Xbox to PC. So that kind of sucks. So you can earn 500 COD points on Xbox, but then when you switch back to PC, you don't have those 500 COD points. Now, my worry is that if I go from Battle.net to Steam, the same thing's going to apply. I'm going to earn COD points on Steam for 500, and they're not going to apply on Battle.net. So, it's like... So if I want to play Modern Warfare 2 and earn COD points on there, but let's say I want to play older games, they're on Battle.net. And if I play Battle.net and earn COD points on there, they're going to be completely different. So that's ridiculous. I don't understand. But anyway, I got the game on Steam. I pre-ordered it. The campaign looks great, I think. I hope it is. It's probably not going to be the same exact Modern Warfare 2 experience we had in 2009, which, in my opinion, was the best campaign in any Call of Duty game that I've ever played. Modern Warfare 2 Original was the best. Hands down. Now, I hated the multiplayer. I mentioned that earlier. I hated the multiplayer so much. It wasn't as bad as another one, but this will make people even more triggered. But I'll say it anyway because, entertainment. World at War was probably my worst multiplayer game experience. I hated that game. It felt like Call of Duty 4 with a World War II skin on it. It didn't innovate that much at all. Zombies was good, but multiplayer, bleh. I hated it. I hated that multiplayer so much. And if you're wondering why my voice is a little weird, it's because I was sick a while ago. I had like coughing, phlegm, all that stuff, nasty stuff, bookers. So I'm trying to do my best to talk, considering I haven't updated my podcast in so long. Let's get into positive things about the Modern Warfare 2 experience, with the beta anyway. So mainly what I could say is that it looks pretty good, and surprisingly enough, it's not a power hog in terms of like taking away your resources for graphics and all that. It's reasonable. It's actually better. So that, I guess the reason why they did this, maybe it's just for the beta, maybe they'll improve it later on, maybe they'll make it more power hungry later on, but for the beta, the performance of the PC version was actually really good. I'm surprised. I had consistent frame rates. Now, mainly this is going to be all like feedback driven, because even though this might be too late for feedback, it's still good to let everyone know what I thought of the beta. So the first thing I have to say about the beta, first thing that a lot of people are talking about, which I agree with, is that the footsteps are too loud. Everywhere you go, people can be heard a mile away. Even if you're crouch walking, you're going to get heard. It doesn't matter. And this really drives the aspect of, well, if I'm going to move and suffer, why move? Why not just hide in a corner? Why not just stay in certain positions? When I do move, I stop and listen to footsteps to see if anyone's coming closer to me. Yeah, you might think it's strategic. You might think it's, quote, tactical. But that's personally a way of playing the game that makes me fall asleep. I don't want to fall asleep playing Call of Duty. I want to be action-driven. I want to run around without any consequence. But there already is a consequence to moving. Like, you don't say that, oh, well, you need loud footsteps because we need to have more of a disadvantage to rushers. There's already plenty of disadvantages. Even without footsteps, my sprint to fire speed is going to hinder me. If I see somebody camping and they're already pre-aiming down an alleyway and I see them, it's going to take me about maybe 200 milliseconds to quickly aim my weapon at them. But by that time, they're already shooting at me. And this game literally takes milliseconds for you to die. So I am at a disadvantage there. The other disadvantage with rushing is that since I'm constantly moving, I have to think a mile a minute. And I'm not going to always expect people to be in corners. I'm always going to be rushing one way. I have to decide, do I go left or do I go right or do I go straight forward? And either one of those decisions can lead to death because somebody could be in the corner, somebody could jump out at me. I have to think a mile, like 5 miles a minute. And that's one of the other disadvantage. I guess, what would be the other disadvantage of rushing? You're always in the open sometimes because you always have to move around and you could always be in the path of a sniper that's sitting in there. And I don't care what you call these people. Sentinels? They're not called sentinels. Campers. Let's just call them that. Campers. Because I hate camping. It's a stupid play style. I hate it. It's your choice. I can't stop it. But then again, it's also a stupid play style. Loud footsteps greatly promote the idea of camping. I don't care what people say. It's like, why, if I'm getting punished for moving with footsteps, why move? That's what everyone's going to think. And that's going to slow down the game. So, my solution, there's two solutions to this. The first one's kind of iffy. The other one's basic. So, the basic solution would obviously be bringing us a basic, not a premium perk, a basic dead silence perk. The dead silence perk could completely silence our footsteps, or it could mostly muffle our footsteps to the point where the field upgrade for dead silence is not completely overwritten because of the perk. You know, personally, I'd rather have the perk completely silence your footsteps and then just buff the dead silence field upgrade entirely. But, you know, let's see what happens. I highly doubt Infinity Ward is going to add a dead silence perk because they're kind of stingy this year. They're like, well, we heard your feedback on footsteps, but here's our thing. We like the footsteps. We think they're fine the way they are. It's like, no, we don't like the footsteps the way they are. They made this mistake in Modern Warfare 2019, and they're going to make the same mistake in Modern Warfare 2022. See, the footstep argument I have is it's logical, because if I'm going to be punished for moving, why move? I keep saying that over and over. It's going to promote camping. That's all it's going to do. It's going to slow the game down. The other option I had, well, is this is unorthodox, but hear me out. We don't have a dead silence perk, but we do have silent footsteps across the board. Nobody has to equip a perk. Everyone's footsteps are silent, or at least mostly silent. Silent enough to where you can't even detect them unless the enemy is like 5 feet away from you. However, we take dead silence, the field upgrade, replace that with awareness. So instead of silencing your footsteps when you use the field upgrade, you just enhance everyone else's footsteps for a brief moment. That way, if you want that distinct footstep advantage, you can do so with a field upgrade. It provides certain types of campers, I know I keep calling them campers, I'm sorry. It provides them with a sense of, hey, I'm being tactical, but at the same time, you're not always getting footsteps to the point where it's going to slow everyone else down. If some people are rushing for the most part because they know that everyone's footsteps are silenced by default, they're going to be hit hard with a field upgrade that detects them, briefly, temporarily, until the field upgrade effect runs out or until they die. That's just my opinion. I don't think it'll ever happen. It'll be interesting if it did, but time will tell. Now, get on to the next part here, the perk system. Oh, the perk system is terrible. I hate it. I like having 4 perks. Don't get me wrong, 4 perks is good. I just don't like the fact that you start with 2, and then you eventually start earning the 3rd and then the 4th. It's like, why? Because Ghost especially, the one that hides you from UAVs, that's the last premium perk you get. Now, in the first week or so of the beta, you earn this perk 4 or 5 minutes into the match. That's half the match. If you're doing really bad and you're not getting any points, you're not going to earn your perks. And you know what's going to happen after that? UAV spam. UAVs are going to be so overpowered, you're going to be detected anywhere you go. It doesn't matter at all. You use a UAV, everyone's on map. Everyone's on the map for the entire time until 3 or 4 minutes pass, and then people start becoming hidden. But there's an issue with that because it's man, there's going to be so much of a disadvantage. Everyone's going to be spamming UAVs, and I'm going to be on the map all the time. It's really? Why not just give us all the perks from the start every time? Now, it's even worse. Now, I don't know if it was a glitch or if it was the intended effect. Now, when I switched different perk slots, I had Cold-Blooded and Ghost, right? Now, if I switched to some 2 new perks, the progress would reset. I don't know if this was a glitch. I don't know if I was incorrect and I thought my perks were disabled, or if it was just an intended effect. But if it was intended, that's a terrible idea, because then you lose your perks all over again. You have to re-earn them, and it's just, no. Give us all the perks by default. Please. Do that. I don't like having to earn these perks. I don't care how fast it takes. It's a terrible idea. Get rid of it, please. Those are the major 2 pieces of feedback that I really, really hope Infinity Ward responds to and makes it a lot better. Now, other things are kind of smaller and are easy fixes, but there's things like, for example, the respawn camera. I hate that respawn. I hate how when you die, the camera has to show the battlefield and then zoom into your character's eyes. It looks cool, but it takes too much time out of the match. I'd rather just die, respawn, instant, go in the match again. I don't want to wait an extra 5 seconds watching my character die, watching this camera over the battlefield, figuring out enemy positions while I'm watching that briefly, and then zooming into my character's eyes. Like, it's unnecessary. There's no point to it. Other thing is enemy visibility. Now, this is a big one that other people touched on, but there's a simple solution. Give us that little red dot above their heads. I don't care about nameplates. The red dot is perfectly fine, in my opinion. It's enough. It's enough. Because whenever you're firing at enemies and that smoke billows up on the weapon itself, you lose sight of the enemy itself. So if you keep that dot on there, it at least gives you some idea of where they are. Now, I know people have addressed the smoke coming out of the weapons, but I think Infinity Ward's going to obviously address that. They've done it before. I'm confident that they're going to make the visibility while firing weapons a lot better. What else? HD textures. Now, I don't like HD texture streaming. I hate it. Give me the option to install HD textures. I don't care if it takes an extra 70 gigabytes out of my hard drive. I got plenty of hard drive space to do it. Just give me the option, please. I hate HD texture streaming. I hate it so much. So another small but kind of a big issue for me personally. This is odd because nobody else will ever mention this ever for some reason. Claymores and proximity mines. Why? Why are these back? I hate them. They're the worst thing. You plant them and you forget them and you get a free cheap kill. It requires me to equip a perk in order to avoid them. Like, why do I need to do that? It's such a cheap kill. It reinforces the idea of camping, because all you have to do is go to a window and be like, oh, there's this door over here. Oh, I can't just skillfully look behind me every once in a while. Put a mine there, and then they die. And then there's a possibility that they'll re-equip that mine again after a certain time, plant the same mine over again, and sometimes you know the mine is there. But there are times when you think it's disabled, but then it's not, and it blows up on you anyway. And even if you actually disable that mine, that alerts the enemy of where you are. So, like, I know Treyarch hates them too. They started having a dislike for mines. Black Ops 3, they made them into tripwires, which were, like, easily visible. Black Ops 4, they made it into, like, a special ability, but you had to plant 2 of those things for it to work. And oftentimes, people wouldn't even know how to use them properly. They would either space them too far out, or think that the individual mesh mine would explode, but you had to connect them like a tripwire. And then Cold War, there were proximity mines, but it was a field upgrade. So you plant them, and yeah, they would get you a kill maybe, but you could duck them. And even then, you could only plant these every, minute or so. And it wasn't constant with a normal lethal equipment that we have now. So, personally, get rid of them. Make the Claymore and or the mine a field upgrade. Simple. That's what I would personally prefer. What else? There is that museum map. Now, hopefully they make a smaller version of it. Like, restrict the map size itself. It's called a strike version. Strike versions of maps are basically the original giant map, but they considerably make it smaller by restricting it, changing its design a bit, maybe even altering the aesthetics. So, for example, Miami in Black Ops Cold War was a giant night map in Miami, Florida. They made a strike version where the map took place during the day, and they restricted the map to the I think it was like the hotel area and the alley itself, the alley and all that, just those areas. And the map was smaller, but much better, and I loved it like that. So maybe they should do that for Museum. Of course, the map size itself is good for like larger modes itself, like say like 9v9 or 12v12 maybe. That'll be good, but overall, it's too open, and there needs to be a smaller version, in my opinion. Here's another small one. I thought this was small, although this was a major deal for everyone else, were the red dots on the minimap. Now, I can understand both arguments. The minimap has the red dots displayed. It's easier to look at. You know where people are when they fire unsuppressed weapons. The other argument that I also agree with is that that causes too much of a reliance on using suppressors. Because if you don't use a suppressor and you fire your weapon, you're on everyone's hit list right now. You're going to get spotted. So their concept was to not punish people for firing their unsuppressed weapon. And I agree with that too. I don't like the system of having to look at a horizontal compass on the top of your screen to know if people are firing unsuppressed weapons. Granted, we do have the idea of punishing people less for using unsuppressed weapons, but at the same time, it's what do you call it? Not necessarily the most practical way of detecting people. My opinion, this will probably never happen because since it's unorthodox, was to have a system where if you fire an unsuppressed weapon, you do pop up on the minimap, but not as a dot. More like a vague, like, circle on the map that identifies your general position of gunfire without revealing your precise position on the map. So that way people know you're somewhere in that area, but they don't know exactly where you are. So that way it's more of... That way there's slightly some punishment for firing an unsuppressed weapon, but it's not so punishing to the point where you're put on the map precisely so people know exactly where you are and where to look. And this would also provide more benefit to flash hiders too. So for those who don't know, flash hiders were in Black Ops Cold War, where if you fired your weapon, the red dot would still pop up, but the length of time that it would appear on the minimap was significantly reduced. It was kind of like a suppressor, but not fully. So I think these would have more benefit, because if you fire an unsuppressed weapon, but it has some type of flash hider on it, it'll maybe increase the distance of the circle, or not allow detection of anything beyond your minimap range. If the minimap range detection was, say, 18 meters, and you're like 20 meters away and you have a flash hider, it's not going to be spotted outside of your minimap range. But if you're within, you might see somebody blip on this map. But again, it's very brief. So that's just my personal idea. I don't think it'll ever happen. I know people will be going, we want red dots, we want red dots. And you know, that's how Call of Duty works. That's how the Call of Duty community is in general, which I will get to later on because there's going to be a rant coming up. So those are my personal opinions about the beta. There's probably going to be more to come when the game releases. So let's hope the beta feedback applies to the official release of the game, and hopefully the game itself is going to be really good. Now, when I mentioned the Call of Duty community, there are two other topics that always pop up. Disbanding lobbies and skill-based matchmaking. Oh my god, like, shut up, people. Stop talking about them. They're not going to change it. Ever. It's not going to happen. And it's not because the developers don't know what they're doing and you're smarter than them. No. Your arguments for both of those things are shit. I'm just going to say it right there. Your arguments about disbanding lobbies and skill-based matchmaking are shit. They've always been. You never change what you say about both of them. So skill-based matchmaking, for those who are unaware, it basically is an algorithm that was introduced in Call of Duty 4, probably even before that. Yeah. So most people will try to disagree with me there. They'll say, oh, it didn't exist back then. Yes, it did. Well, it wasn't strong back then. Probably because a lot of people just started playing the game and there weren't as many people. When years go by, more people join the game. People who were originally not that good at the game became better. And now we have crossplay. And the moment crossplay came out, people started ranting saying that the algorithm was stronger than ever. Yeah, because when you add more people to the algorithm, it's going to be more accurate. No shit. How do people not understand this? The more people you have, the better the skill-based matchmaking is going to be when it comes to matching you with the appropriate players based on skill. How do people not know this? And I laugh so hard when people go back to older games and be like, they removed the matchmaking in this game. They removed the skill-based matchmaking in Black Ops 4. But yeah, because nobody's playing it anymore. And that game doesn't have crossplay. When there's less people to match you with, there's going to be wider skill variations. You're going to have 2 KD players mixed with 0.5 KD players. So if you're a high skill player and you're playing an old Call of Duty game, you're going to be stomping noobs more often. You know why? Because the matchmaking is going to preserve your connection first. This is another thing people will hate about me. Connection always takes a priority in the matchmaking process. No exceptions. Mostly a quote from Michael Condrey himself. He announced this back in 2015. The matchmaking will always prioritize your connection over skill. Skill is the lesser component, but if your connection is not going to be sound, it's not going to sacrifice your connection for a good skill pairing. People still, to this day, think that if you have a high KD player going to search for a match, they're only going to find 3 KD opponents, and your connections are going to be like 200 milliseconds or so. That is not true. The only way you can have a high ping in every lobby is if you have a terrible internet service quality. You're located somewhere like in the middle of nowhere, like England or Brazil or South Africa. If you're located there, you're going to have less connection quality because you have a longer distance from the servers. If they added more servers, the connection might be better. If internet in general allows you to have like 50 milliseconds when you're from Australia connecting to America, maybe that'll happen. But that's the only way you're going to get your connection quality increased. Otherwise, I'm sorry, but you're SOL in certain situations. I'm sorry for the people who are in Australia and are always connecting to American lobbies and getting like 200 or 300 milliseconds of ping. That's just going to happen. The only way you can improve that is if everybody in your country plays Call of Duty, so you connect to them more often. Then people go up to me and be like, oh, it does impact your connection. How so? What evidence, what official evidence from developers do you have that allows you to say this? Well, YouTubers tested this algorithm. Oh, what YouTubers? Oh, you're talking about Exclusive Ace and Drifter? I like those YouTubers. They are very knowledgeable. They are good in their testing. However, they only tested 10, 20 accounts. You can't get a definite answer on connection quality by testing a handful of accounts. You need to test every one of them just to affirm what you are suspicious about. The only people who can test the connection quality and have a reasonable idea of what everyone's connection quality is are the developers. They know exactly how everyone is. You know how I could support that theory? Go back to that whole fireside chat. Now, Michael Condrey in 2015 made this whole fireside chat. I have a whole YouTube video about skill-based matchmaking. I called it SBMM is a good thing. Look it up on YouTube, by the way. I may even post a link on the description of this podcast. Basically states that the overall connection, or not connection, the overall KD of the community is higher. If they can measure everyone's statistics like that, it also leads me to believe that they know every statistic regarding everyone's connection quality to the servers. They have to. If they realize a lot of people are lagging, that means they have to say, oh, something's wrong with our servers. Let's go into it. Let's get a little analysis. Let's do a little review of the servers. Oh, there might be something wrong here. Okay, let's fix it. Boom, done. Now everyone's connection quality is good. The other connection quality issue that I keep hearing about are people with shadow bans. Shadow bans and people trying to use a VPN. Those are major factors of ruining your connection. It's not the skill-based matchmaking. This is going to be a long rant. So everyone keeps hating about the skill-based matchmaking. It's like, oh, the game's too sweaty. The game's too sweaty. Well, it's competition. It's a game of competition. That's what it is. It's supposed to be like that. No, it's not. It's supposed to be casual. What's your definition of casual? Well, you're not supposed to sweat in the games. Okay, so don't sweat in the games. Relax. No, that's the thing. If I relax, then everyone else is going to sweat against me, and I'm going to lose. So you're telling me that you want to play the game by relaxing without having to sweat, but at the same time perform very well? That does not make sense. The only way you can get that is if you found a way to cheat the matchmaking to give you the weakest opponents. So you want weak opponents to slap around for your casual game, right? That's the answer, but they won't admit it. They'll never admit it. If they were completely honest, they'll say, well, skill-based matchmaking, here's the thing, I don't like it. I'd rather go into a game, not try hard at all, and I want to destroy the weakest players possible so I get a better feeling of accomplishment and pride. I want to get all my streaks, I want to get 100 kills, and I don't want to break a sweat. If that involves destroying the weaker players just to get that feeling and that accomplishment, so be it. Everyone's like, casual game, they want randomized matchmaking. That skill-based matchmaking already gives you kind of a random experience anyway. You win, you lose. You got bad teammates, you got good teammates. It's randomized to begin with. But people were like, oh, we want it removed so it could be completely randomized. No. There's an ulterior motive here. People want the algorithm gone because they just want the majority of the player base, which are not that skilled. That's what consists of this player base, are lower skilled players. They know if they remove the skill-based matchmaking, that's like opening the gates to the sheep. The majority of their lobbies will be full of people who are way lesser of a skill than they are if that algorithm is gone. They want that barrier removed. They want to just destroy everybody. Then they say, well, here's the thing. If you play casual Call of Duty and you want to sweat, you should just like stick to ranked play. Stick to ranked play. That shit mode? Nobody plays ranked play. When I say nobody, I mean like maybe a few thousand people play it. Ranked play is only if you are a professional or if you just don't like the cheap stuff in the game, like mines or certain field upgrades and all that. If you just want a basic bare bones Call of Duty experience, then yeah, that mode will be good for you. But the majority of people will be playing regular non-ranked modes because there's less restrictions. Why should I be restricted on everything? I want to actually play with the stuff that I'm given access to. Why would I want to have a choice of only 2 streaks in ranked play when I can have 13 of them? No brainer here. And the whole argument about people telling you to play ranked is because they don't want you in their public matches. There's no such thing as public matches being a place where you're supposed to not sweat, and ranked play is a place where you're supposed to sweat. You can sweat or not sweat in either mode. That's up to us. What people are telling me to do is dictating how I play my game. Oh, you want to sweat? Stay in ranked play. How about no? How about I play public matches and I sweat my ass off every game? You know why? Because that's my personal definition of casual. That's my way of having fun. I love having to sweat every game. And I don't say that sarcastically either. Unironically, I love to sweat because it gives me a thrill. I don't care. Yeah, I don't always win. It sucks to lose. I get angry sometimes. Yeah, granted. But I still like my playstyle. You're basically telling the sweaty players to stay in ranked play so your experience in public matches are easier. Admit that, please. Admit it. God, there's so many things. I hate it so much. Like I said, I had a whole video about this earlier. Especially the YouTubers that go online and that's all they talk about. Certain YouTubers. Well, I'll mention this guy specifically, but you also got some piece of trash named Blame Truth. Like, dude, that guy's a trash heap. All those channels do is talk about this game is great, even though they never played it. This game sucks. Skill-based matchmaking is bad. This game is dead. I quit. Recycle. That's all it is. That's all those YouTubers are. I call them Call of Duty doomers. They're the channels that will always tell you the game is bad, repeat the same opinion about skill-based matchmaking, say they quit, go back to the game again, maybe repeat the same topics over and again, and then when a new game comes out, they're excited. That's how it works for them. It's just for clicks and views. The only time I'll ever watch their channels is to disagree with them and dismantle their arguments. Here's a good one, right? For this one, I never touched on this on the video, but they always say, well, skill-based matchmaking, it ruins the social aspect of Call of Duty. No, it does not. You go into a game, you unmute the chat, you talk to people, you open your mouth and people will talk to you. If they don't want to talk, that's fine. That's their choice. Maybe they don't want to listen to you because the majority of the community are toxic as anything. You go into a search and destroy game. You get people calling you every word in the book that you don't want to repeat. That's how toxic people can be. And that's why, personally, I keep the chat muted, except if I'm with friends. But even if I'm with friends, I'm in a Discord call. It's especially better since Xbox actually announced and they implemented voice chat for Discord. So that's even better. But yeah, it's like, oh, social aspect Call of Duty is bad because of disbanding lobbies too. It's not. You talk to people, you have your disagreements, you have your fights, but occasionally you find a cool person. And even if the lobby disbands, you say, hey, that guy was pretty cool. Let me go back to my recent players. There he is. Get a friend request here. Sign it in. Okay, now we're friends. Joins the game. Hey, buddy, how you doing? That's social Call of Duty. You just got to be willing to talk and send that friend request if you like somebody. Or if you don't like that somebody, invite them to a game and have a little private match. Simple. It's not the algorithm restricting your abilities, it's you. You yourself are restricting your ability to be social. The more people accept that, the more they can come out and talk to people more often. And then, before you know it, social Call of Duty is back. Disbanding lobbies and all. Now, disbanding lobbies. So, people say, well, disbanding lobbies is a terrible thing. We don't want this in Call of Duty. It's a good thing. It's a good thing, people. Quick play causes disbanding lobbies. Not skill-based matchmaking. Quick play. If skill-based matchmaking disbanded lobbies, we would have been seeing them back in Call of Duty 4. Every match would have disbanded. But it didn't. Quick play was the start of this whole system. The reason why people want disbanding lobbies is because they want to find that terrible team that they're up against and keep them in the games as long as possible. Because sometimes people who are bad at the game, I shouldn't say that, who are not as skilled at the game, will often repeat their progress and just keep playing the same matches over and over again. This is really good news if you're a skilled player, because if you got freaking noobs 1 through 6 as a full team and you're destroying them and they're not quitting and the lobbies never disband, that's pure, like, legitimate exploitation of their lower skill, because that means you get a better kill death ratio, you complete your camo challenges faster, and you just feel overall better about yourself. Now with disbanding lobbies, now every match is going to start up. Now, one theory was that skill-based matchmaking is more effective this way. That's a good theory. Why is it a bad thing for skill-based matchmaking to assemble the lobby after it disbanded, a fresh lobby, and make everyone equal? If not equal enough to where the connections are preserved as much as possible. Why is this a bad thing? Because again, people don't like having to sweat. They just would rather have the worst players to feed off of in order to have a better experience for themselves. It's kind of like Dennis Leary's song, I'm an A-hole, where he's talking about having fun at someone else's expense. That's what people are. They're bullies. That's what it comes down to. So, yeah, disbanding lobbies, it's a good thing because when you have a quick play filter, I can select multiple modes. Team deathmatch, domination, hardpoint, kill confirmed. I can have those 4 modes selected. Start a match. The first match might be a join in session. But after that, no more join in sessions. No more joining in sessions. Always fresh matches. From beginning to end, every single time, unless I quit out. Also, I'll be in the kill confirmed. Then I'll be in domination. Then I'll be in hardpoint. Then back to kill confirmed. Team deathmatch. Kill confirmed. And they adjust themselves randomly, so I don't have to constantly back out. Every match is fresh, every match is new, and it's great. I like it. And the other thing is that when you have quick play filter, think of it as like a bucket, right? The bucket containing a lot of water is your player base. And there are these little cups, empty cups, that are your lobbies. You pour a little bit of the water into those cups, and then when the lobby disbands, take that cup and you pour the water back into the bucket. So that way, it kind of represents the idea of having a large pool of players that are able to find these lobbies much easier, and they can fill these lobbies up so quickly, and when they disband, the water is back in the bucket again, and this whole process repeats. It's so simple, it's so effective. With the non-disbanding lobbies, you would have too many cups full of water and not enough water in the bucket. Meaning that if you were trying to find a match with too many lobbies not disbanding, your chances of finding a fresh lobby is going to be reduced. Or at least if you find a match, you're not going to have the best connection quality overall. Because all the potential people that you could be connecting to are still stuck in their lobbies. This goes double for people who are using those lobbies to boosting. Basically, two teams cooperating with each other for the purpose of exploiting the challenges. So it's like, okay, we're a full lobby of boosters. All right, pick your teammate. All right, go over here. I'll kill you 50 times to get my camo. You kill me 50 times to get your camo, so on and so forth. Yeah, those are gone now. Because even if somebody formed a boosting lobby, the match ends, they're gone. They're gone. No more. And you get random people that join the lobby. And every time you join the lobby, it's fresh. So you're not going to have people boosting anymore. But the problem with my two opinions, as I mentioned, these rants about skill-based matchmaking and disbanding lobbies, nobody's going to agree with me. They're stubborn. It's all about, we want this removed, and there's no way we're going to listen to you. It's unreasonable. And this is why the developers don't want to announce their opinions on disbanding lobbies and skill-based matchmaking all the time, because every time they do, people don't listen to them. Now, they did touch up on disbanding lobbies in the Modern Warfare 2. The developers mentioned that they're trying to keep lobbies together more often. Here's how it's probably going to happen. If you're searching for a game, and the same people have the same playlist selections as you, they're going to try to put you with those same players more often to speed up the matchmaking process a bit more. How often that will happen, I have no idea. The other solution, in my opinion, what they're probably going to do is have these temporary mosh pits, where once in a while, you have a mosh pit where it says, lobbies do not disband. So you select that one playlist, and you go into a match, and people stay. But it's temporary, because overall, quick play is the ultimate filter. It's the best way to have the game work out, right? I like it. I know people don't like it, but who cares about what they think? Again, it's toxic. I know that's kind of a bold thing I said, but at this point, when you've listened to the Call of Duty community for as long as I have, you realize that you have to say certain things like that, because it's, yeah, they're just toxic as anything. I always think about the people like who said that the skill-based matchmaking was a terrible thing. All of their arguments never changed. What's most interesting is that people will tell me that, well, this game needs to be casual. I don't want to sweat all the time. And I remember recording a video on YouTube where people would say these exact same things while playing Advanced Warfare. And they're using reverse boosted accounts, modified accounts to give them newbie players every single time. They're cheating. They're basically cheating, ruining other people's game experience by having them placed in the game where these people can't fight back. And they're still having these arguments about skill-based matchmaking being a bad thing. Like, dude, you're cheating right here. That's why I hate people in general in the Call of Duty community, because they're just terrible. They're overall just horrible people that don't care about anybody else. They only care about themselves. It's a selfish argument. That's the reason why developers don't respond to them, because there's no point to it. It's just terrible opinions. They're terrible opinions. And they'll never try to change it either. Anyway, that's enough of my rant. So, for those wondering about what I think about Modern Warfare 2 2022 when it comes out, I'm going to enjoy the campaign, probably. Will I like multiplayer? Who knows? It depends. I didn't really like Modern Warfare 2019 that much. It was good, just not great. But hopefully MW2 will improve everything. Well, anyway, this pretty much wraps up my episode of the Dergboi podcast. I know this is kind of a long rant. I'm very passionate about these topics because, hey, I like Call of Duty. So what do you expect? So this is RuggedTheDragon, and I thank you for listening to the podcast. If you have any suggestions on new topics, you want me to address any questions, you want to be a guest on the show, I'll gladly have you anytime. Just go on to Discord, the Telegram group, Twitter, anything you can reach out to. Contact me. It greatly helps me out because I feel like I'm better knowing that I'm involved with more of you, the listeners, to the podcast and to the furry community as well. So I'll see you all next time. Take it easy and be safe. Dergboi out.